Hello everyone, welcome to Game Junk Prototype episode 50. Recording on Thursday, February 25th. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name's Andrew.
We did it. 50 episodes. Over a year we've been doing this. Probably close to exactly a year, including some review episodes. I honestly can't believe it. I will say I didn't think it would happen, but we're pretty regular.
Prototype successful.
Prototype complete?
I don't know. Some people are definitely questioning the name Prototype at this point, so let's figure something out.
We'll see. We'll be talking about the Sony State of Play today, which was short, half an hour, but I've got a few things to touch on. And I also want to mention our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GameJunk, and, put people in the direction of some masterclass work in editing from Huck last week. Put a lot of time and effort to illuminating my how do I phrase
lateness?
My lateness, my shame, and putting it in a very comedic context. So thanks for doing that, Huck. It's appreciated, and people should check it out. If you listen to the episodes, at least go watch the end of that episode.
Yeah, definitely. I also say thanks for all the new subscribers that have signed on. We're getting close to 500.
Yeah, if you listen, check out the video, subscribe, smash, all those stupid shit people say.
I mean, I just got to say, I'll put a tease out there. Maybe this gives people a reason to subscribe, but we are talking about doing some other video stuff. So, not just this podcast.
Put stuff out there. He
putting it out there.
He can't hold on to it. He's hot at talking.
You got to subscribe to find out what it is.
Good tease, though. I'm not good at that stuff. Sean, he's got to get it out there.
You could say we've been prototyping the ideas.
Yes, indeed. All right, well, let's get into it. Sony State of Play. I am the Sony fanboy, apologist, however you want to put it. As people have said in the comments, I'm playing an awful lot of Xbox lately, which I have been. I love the controller, and I play a lot of online games with Xbox. So I'm not a hater, just a lover. And I love one more than the other. So let's get into the State of Play. There's only 10 things or so we can touch on them all, I think. Although the first one, there's not a lot to say, in my opinion. Crash 4, it's about time. Coming to PS5 with some standard stuff, 4K, 60 frames per second. Save, transfer,
3D audio,
same old.
Stuff.
Needle's not moving for me. Although I do want to buy this game. When it goes on sale for $40 next, I might. You liked it, right, Huck? And Sean, you played it a bit?
I didn't try it yet.
No?
But this
I played
might
it
get
just
me
a
to
tiny
do that.
amount. I played maybe two levels, the first two areas or so. It was good. It was fine. I think you would like it, Frank, because you really like the originals. So,
well, I mean, I think I mentioned this when you talked about the slide mechanic in Part 2. I hate, and I'm curious if it's improved on the slide mechanic, but I'll give it a shot at some point, I'm sure. So, we started off not with a bang, but with a whimper, and moving into the next announcement. An update. Actually, a lot of this was updates, I would say, on stuff that's been previously announced. Maybe taking a page out of the Nintendo style of announcements, where they're talking about stuff that is going to be in the near future, like not going too far into the future and speculating or teasing stuff, but talking about imminent releases for the most part.
You know what I do like about. I like this style of presentation where they show the gameplay and have a narrator over top of it. So you actually get more details than just trying to guess sort of like what the trailer's trying to show you, because you could always just go to YouTube and watch the trailer in its original form, but this gives you like a little extra. And I feel like a lot of the times with like Nintendo and Xbox kind of trailers, sometimes you're wondering like, what is this even gameplay of? But with the kind of voiceover, you get a little extra information, which I think is really helpful sometimes, or harmful.
Okay, interesting.
So one thing the next game, did I even say what the next game is?
No.
Returnal. coming April 30th. We finally got official confirmation, which we've debated many times. Housemarque is the developer, who I am a fan of. So
I think it was confirmed for everyone but you.
No, you used to say Housemarque. I always said
pronunciation he's talking about, not who.
Yeah, no, I know. Oh. I'm pretty sure I always said Housemarque.
I don't think so. Okay. Go to the tape.
That could be the end of the show compilation. That will take me a while to put together, though.
If any listeners know who is on what side of this, please let us know in the comments. So I'm super excited for this game. They got into the rogue-like elements a bit more, although they kind of acted like they made up roguelikes. Like they're saying, oh, you carry over things from each playthrough, and each playthrough is unique. So
yeah, I don't know why they just didn't say randomly generated levels, because it's the standard term.
I know, like it's a big game from Sony, and a lot of roguelike stuff is indie, so I felt like they were perhaps introducing a wider audience to the concept.
But I think that's what it was. I think the term roguelike is not, hasn't really got mainstream acceptance or awareness yet. So it's just kind of, this is a bigger game. Let's just explain it.
Yeah, which, I just thought it was kind of interesting. But I thought it looked amazing. I love this company, and I'm a sucker for their stuff, but even that one vertical shot with 10 bullets, the enemies looking like Sentinels from the Matrix. Sean, you must have been losing your mind. I'm all in on this game. Like a AA, AAA roguelike shooter based from a company I love the shooters of. I saw hints of Super Stardust in terms of the secondary fires and changing weapons, which I love. I cannot wait for this game.
It's interesting that the AAA roguelike, I feel like there was another game recently that was announced or something, but I had kind of that same thought where it's like, okay, we've seen a lot of indie stuff doing this. Now we're going to start seeing bigger.
I mean, Souls games are kind of roguelikes in some way, other than the random generation, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. But yeah, I mean,
it's probably very uncommon for AAA games because. Oh, what was that? Crazy. You want to do great looking artwork, and as soon as you take a procedural approach, it becomes tougher to do, right? In a AAA game. I think another game that did it was, is it Remnant? Is that what it's called? It's like a...
I know the cover art. The cover art for that game is very iconic, but I actually have
no... Yeah, Remnant from the Ashes, which I played a bit and thought it was pretty good. And, it does suffer, when you have this idea of a AAA game and the levels all kind of look the same every time. It's a weird change to accept. But, as long as the enemies are cool and the combat's fun, it's a win for me. So I haven't pre-ordered it yet, but I probably will. Definitely before April 30th. Excited for Returnal.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I was interested. I wasn't 100% sold on it previously, but I really liked this trailer. There was a lot more action. It just felt more action-y, I guess, than I expected. I like there's a bit of a horror thing going on, and it seemed kind of Dead Spacey to me previously, but I don't know. I like the direction this is going.
So this is the game that I actually thought I was more excited for before this trailer. And the main reason, actually there was one thing that I liked and one thing I did not like at all. The thing I did not like at all was that when they were showing that initial kind of combat room, and they're like, you got to dash a lot because you're going to get hit a lot in the back, and it does not look fun at all. And then you die, and then they started kicking off into the whole resetting roguelike thing. Now that combat looked pretty cool. I agree. The enemies looked neat. The gameplay looked fun, but the amount of times the guy was getting hit in the back with no real indication that a guy was behind you looked to me just like pure frustration. And that's not the type of game I like to play, especially when there's lots of enemies that are doing that. Now, what I did like is I thought the story sounded neat, that sort of psychological thriller thing.
Well,
Now,
I think it's interesting. They kind of separated it out, right? So it reminded me of in the double A space of something like Hellblade, um, which is like the story is integrated directly into the action, which is cool, but it was very heavily story focused. So I thought this one is interesting that it seems like they're partitioning the combat from the story. It's like this kind of simple story segments that with like very custom artwork, and then the combat, which is a whole nother thing that's procedural. So I think it could be intriguing.
yeah. So I mean, we were talking a couple shows about how like Children of Morta has really like expanded the whole like roguelite story aspect. And what was the other game we were talking about? There's one other game we were talking about that
Hades.
really
Hades.
Hades. Yes, Hades, yeah. And so it'll be interesting to see if they can also improve on it, or at least do it as well as those other games, because I think the story is interesting. It sort of gave me almost like I was gonna say like the movie Solaris kind of vibes, where it's kind of like this weird psychological thing where stuff is kind of happening you wouldn't expect, though not a perfect comparison. But I almost feel like the roguelike aspect of it would maybe take away from this sort of story that they have here. If they could have more of like a tailored story to go with this gameplay, I almost feel like it might be better. But obviously not playing it, that's like a complete uneducated take.
I guess I'm the opposite in that I kind of get annoyed when like story starts to take over action games, and I know they're getting much better at integrating it with voiceover while you're walking from place to place, and it tends to be a good trend. But I'm kind of looking forward to just some compact story segments and then action the rest of the time, and we'll see. I mean, you're still playing the story. It looks like you're walking through areas, and just there's not a lot of combat in those sections. So obviously, I've always said I'm not huge on story in games, so I don't really care that much.
Yeah, well, there must have some overarching story, because the planet she crash lands on definitely looks sort of Earth-like. So my guess is the twist is going to be like she lands on some sort of like future Earth, and it's kind of like taken over by aliens or something like that. That's my hot take right there.
Okay.
Market.
Could be.
House market.
Anything else to say about this game, which is probably one of the bigger ones that we're going to talk about?
No, April 30th, so not that far off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next was a game that we kind of ripped on last time for the Nintendo Direct. And to be fair, I was ripping on the trailer, which seemed to come more from the marketing side of things, where they were tying it into, and sorry, it's Knockout City, a kind of combat dodgeball game that looks Fortnite / what's another game I see? Splatoon a bit, some other things. An online combat game. That I really did not like the trailer last week, and it seems like this was a pretty conscious diversion from that idea. And I think I even said last week that I'm assuming the gameplay is really good, because like they're obviously putting a lot of money into the marketing, and I just wasn't crazy about the marketing. So this was basically all gameplay. And to me, when they were showing the player characters, they were pretty generic, like customizable art, swapping stuff out, allowing for player customization. It did not seem like those kind of preset caricatures or stereotypes we talked about, or parodies we talked about last week. So I was glad to see that. It looks a little more fun. I mean, I'm curious to try it out. I'm a little skeptical when I see like picking up other teammates and throwing them. Like, what am I doing while someone's carrying me?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's that much fun, but I don't know. The gameplay looked intriguing, which is what I was hoping for last week.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical of the 1v1 mode.
Rise
because right. Sorry. Only because the 1v1, it seemed like the areas were quite large. So I worry that maybe you're just going to be searching aimlessly around these pretty large environments for that one other person, and it might not be that fun. It looked pretty open, but still with places you can sort of hide. So that was my only concern of the 1v1. I think what 3v3 probably would be fun to do it. I agree with you, Frank, though, about how like getting picked up and thrown as a ball. I don't know why that would necessarily be fun, but I guess if
I was trying to think of like, could they have influence over aim or powers while you're being thrown, and it's like a coordination, communication multiplayer aspect that could be interesting. I don't think it's impossible to make that fun. That's my reaction when I see mechanics like that. And another low key game I was reminded of is Arms. I know it's not a combat game, but kind of like this. The feel reminded me of Arms.
It definitely had like a Nintendo feel, like maybe a little Splatoon in there too. But I was surprised because I thought, because they showed it at the Nintendo Direct, for some reason I thought it was like a Nintendo exclusive or something, or like Nintendo and PC, but obviously it's not.
But this is an EA original. I think that's why I think I even said everyone rips on EA, and I felt bad about ripping on them for marketing stuff, but
right.
I think it's more of an indie game than an EA game, and EA might have just paid for the marketing with that Nintendo Direct, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But it is a newer studio, Velen Studios, which is an offshoot of people from Vicarious Visions. And I think they worked on Mario Kart Live Circuit, or the toy game that came out at Christmas. I'm pretty sure that's on their website too.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it looks fun. I guess the one thing that crossed my mind looking at the video they showed here was, is it like an auto, like it seemed like you throw the ball and it just auto goes to people, it auto targets people. It didn't seem like an aiming thing, which seemed not that fun, but maybe I was misunderstanding what I saw.
I would agree, because they had the mechanic where you like throw around something, and how are you going to control that at the same time?
Right.
I can't imagine having like ball direction on like the right stick or something would actually work, or on like the triggers. I can't see how that controller wise would work.
Yeah. I mean, there could be a cool element of, it's almost like pitching in a baseball game where, the change up, fastball, RBI baseball, something like that, where you have a little influence over it, and varying the speed of it, so that would, hitting a baseball in a baseball video game would, to me, be their equivalent of catching a ball that's coming to you. Like, how do you time the catch in dodgeball or something like that? And they showed that mechanic off too. So I've got some ideas on how I think that's going to work, which could be interesting. So
it did look like there was sort of like a lock-on mechanic, and then you just kind of throw it. And I think it's more about like timing if something's in your way, and choosing which sort of like, do you lob it up, do you go around, or do you just go straight, kind of thing.
But there was another mechanic that I thought of that you could use something similar in Rockstar Table Tennis, like the spin idea, and I guess a lot of tennis games, Mario Tennis and stuff like that, of like one button to start or to end, and like to determine your spin and stuff like that could be interesting.
Just go back to Super Dodgeball for NES.
I've never played that game.
It's a classic, and it is a timing based thing whether you catch it or not.
Okay, next game. From Slow Claps Studios. I'd seen pictures before I watched the State of Play, because I watched the State of Play late today, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but is it Sifu or Saifu?
Sifu is
Sifu?
how they pronounced it.
Okay,
in the
I
State of
can
Play.
remember. I apologize. This looked really cool. It looked like a take on, to me, the cinematic combat that was kind of introduced in Uncharted 3 and expanded upon in Uncharted 4. With not a lot of prompts, but having a cool camera and flow to combat. But it seems like it's expanding on that a lot. Not a whole lot to go on, but I was definitely intrigued by the art style and concept. It seemed like something relatively fresh.
Yeah, it looked really fast too, and really fluid. The animation looked great, and I like that sort of like cell shaded, almost like polygonal art style that they had. It really grabbed your attention, and it'll be interesting to see how they expand the game or what actually the game is, because they kind of just showed a bunch of almost like hallway fights, small little area fights. So it'll be interesting, but it looked really responsive. Like, it looked like you can use the environment in the fights and everything. So it looked really cool. Definitely maybe stole the show for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was exciting just because it was one of the few things we hadn't heard of previously. So that was kind of a bonus. But yeah, I'm kind of into it as well. So looking forward to hearing more about it.
Cool. The next, and that was PS5, I think. I don't think they mentioned PS4.
I believe so, yeah.
Looks like the thing I'm reading says PS4 as well. But
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, and Epic Game Store, according to their website.
Next is Solar Ash, which is an update from the game from the creators of Hyper Light Drifter, which I had forgotten about this game. It's a locomotion-based action combat game, which I'm always intrigued by when I talk about locomotion systems in games and open-world games that I love. However, I was certainly reminded of Pathless, both in art style and gameplay.
I put that down as well.
Yeah. Now, I didn't love Pathless when I played it. I found the timing of like the dash mechanic where you're shooting those arrows to be a little unintuitive and the timing to be a little clunky, although I would still go back to it. This looked like more fun to me, just from the video. I don't know if that's true. I would have to play it, but I was more intrigued by the locomotion in this game than I was playing Pathless. So I'm, marginally excited for this game. I really had forgotten about it, so seeing a video again refreshed my memory, and it's another thing to look forward to.
yeah, I mean, I'll definitely check it out. It's not. I don't think they gave a date, right? 2021. But yeah, I agree. The Pathless definitely seemed similar, but this looked like there was more forms of locomotion, and yeah, Pathless didn't totally grab me either, but I would like to go back to it.
And did the Pathless have a like Shadow of the Colossus style bosses in it, like this game seems to be having?
They were big bosses, but like I think just from the videos I saw, it's like still very locomotion based. Like you're trying to avoid stuff and damage here and there, but I'm talking out of my ass completely. I don't think I made it to a boss. Sean, did you?
I'm trying to remember if
from what I remember, they're like these big red areas, and there's like a huge character in the middle that you're fighting.
Yeah, I feel like there was one, but it wasn't a fight. I don't remember. I can't say.
Maybe a hint of jet grind radio in here too. There was like this kind of skating mechanic that looked interesting. Yeah, looks pretty good. It's interesting. A lot of these big indie developers, for indie games, seem to be moving into AA territory that was empty. Like, I'm assuming this is a $40 game, $50 game in Canada, just based on the look of it. And it seems like, we're getting a little more separation in the $20 landscape of indie games and this kind of middle ground. So I'm getting a sense that AA is making a bit of a comeback, at least not in, $80 physical releases in stores, but, finding a niche market that was kind of unsatisfied for a while there.
I actually love that it's coming back. Actually, I think also the rise of the indie games have caused an absolute flood of the market, and a lot of these, I would say like A-tier indie studios are now signing on with publishers, which give them a little extra wiggle room as far as money goes, which allows them to create a little larger scope of game, which is creating this AA space again. And I think it's great. I think it was definitely needed, because it was looking for a time like it was only going to be like the Uncharted's and then all the regular indie games with no real funding. But I think the publishers also saw that gap in the market and have stepped in and really especially most of these studios are being picked up by Annapurna and Devolver, and
Devolver,
some of
yeah.
those like Raw Fury, like a lot of those sort of like smaller publishers are really taking. It seems like they're taking on a lot of projects because I see their names all over the place now. So I think it's great that you know developers have a place to go to get some funding to be able to improve their games and make them better.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like stuff like I don't know what the actual price of the medium is, but I feel like stuff like that's been on Game Pass kind of is in that zone as well. But I don't know about the actual price points.
Yeah, I checked on the store. It's not in there yet. So for pre-order, it's in the store, but no pricing details that I could see.
Yeah, that's weird. Oh, so the medium I'm looking on Xbox.com, 64.99 Canadian. So I guess that would be 49.99.
Something
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
so.
Yep.
So that is not. That's like kind of in between area. Like it's not that $40, but it's also not the 70. You know, it's kind of this weird.
I think that
hybrid
one they were
ground.
pushing probably more money as a launch because it was Series X exclusive, and there's not a lot of Series X stuff out, and I think it was a bit of a cash grab, but who knows? And it was one of the games talked about a lot as an exclusive in their lead up
Yeah,
videos to the launch, so I think there's a bit of
just kind of.
hype. And
Yeah,
they're
I'm
going to
kind
put
of
it on
surprised
sale
it's not.
eventually, and it's on Game Pass, right? So
Yeah, I guess that's the way. I'm surprised they didn't have the price up higher to almost entice more people to get Game Pass.
yeah. Next, I really have nothing to say about, but I'll mention it. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I know this franchise is extremely popular. I know nothing about it. Have no interest in it. Not sure if if this was a needle mover for anyone here.
No.
No, not really. I like it is exclusive to PlayStation, or is it like just console exclusive? Like up until now, all the games have been mostly mobile, at least initially, right? They probably came to Steam, I assume, but
Yeah, they're definitely
is
on
this the
Steam.
first time they're on
I've never,
console?
I have no idea. Honestly, I completely
Oh no,
checked.
they're on Game Pass now, right? A lot of them.
Yeah, yeah. I think the first five or something came to Game Pass.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like from what I've seen of them, I have no interest in this style of game, and they're pretty kind of simple. But maybe this takes it a step more in an interesting direction. I don't know.
It looked like a first person game, and I guess I'll take this opportunity to mention, even though it wasn't part of the state of play, Sony did confirm a new PSVR is coming next year, I think. So
Did
there's a
they
little
say that in that game?
speculation on that. I think they said 2020. I'm not 100% sure. Or sorry,
2022?
2022, pardon me. But I might be making that up completely.
Yeah, I mean, it was an exciting announcement. There wasn't a lot to go on, but just knowing that, they haven't abandoned VR, that they're working on something for next gen. I was a little surprised they said that like so they're not doing like a cord-free headset. They said everything is going to be one cable, I think. So they're trying to simplify it a little bit, but you're still going to be tethered to your PlayStation, which I guess makes sense.
I'm not surprised by that. Like using the Quest 2, I mean, it's not that powerful. I know Hawk had pretty good results streaming to the wireless from a PC, but I feel like to get the max performance out of a console and stuff like that, you really probably need it being, executed on the console and going right into the headset with a wire. So at least if you're going to take advantage of the graphics and photorealism in some of these VR games, I'm not surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, but yeah, I
I
mean,
think they were
it's-
probably seeing a big dip in sales on VR stuff because people are like, is this even going to be worth like having as a back catalog if I can't use a VR headset? But I think because it was a pretty light announcement, I think it was to kind of
Yeah.
get some interest and expand the install base over the mid. Like I think people were waiting. We had a friend who asked us about VR and the state of it, and hasn't been a lot talking about it. So
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Andrew. I mean, I think he was just wondering, like, if you want to get into VR, what's the best place to start? And I mean, it's a tricky question right now, but
and I'm sure a lot of people were just buying quests at this point, right? And this seems like, well, maybe if we announce a new VR, people will start to get old PlayStation VRs and buy stuff in hopes that the new one's coming.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, there's been a lot of interesting little VR games on sale on PSN lately. I've been like picking up a bunch, and it's like every time I'm kind of scrolling through what's on sale, I just see something, I'm like, what's this? And I start reading about it. I'm like, oh, that actually sounds really cool, and it's got good reviews. I can't help myself. I gotta get this. Will I play it? I don't know. But
Your what did we call that PlayStation summary? What was it called?
a dabbler?
No, when we did our stats, what was that email called?
The wrap up?
The wrap up. Yeah, we'll see what your 2021 wrap up
Yeah.
says. The story it tells. Sony wrap ups are storytellers. Ultimately. Next game is one I think Huck was not too excited about previously. Oddworld Soulstorm, which was announced as a free game for PlayStation Plus in March. Wasn't it? Or was
April.
it April? Pardon me. And I thought I like this series. I love the art style of these games and the world that they've created. I don't know if they're the most fun games in the world, but I've always liked the concept and look of these games. This one I still think looks pretty good. I will check it out, of course, because it's free on PlayStation Plus. But the only takeaway I had that I wanted to bring up is 2.9D, which is making my, like, I wouldn't say cringe, but I'm like, okay, do we have to invent a new thing here? Like, this is a more...
Is that what they
Lots
said?
of 2.5D games have, like, pulled the camera back and played with depth of field to make it a little more cinematic. I mean, even going back to Pandemonium and stuff and Klonoa on PlayStation 1. So this feels like a bit of a marketing gimmick, but I'm still intrigued by the series.
Yeah, I didn't totally catch that, but
Oh, you got to listen closely. They're always throwing stuff in here.
It's hard to listen close when you skip the entire thing.
well, I did watch the trailer. I mean, I was kind of like,
I love the effects. I think the effects look amazing.
yeah, I don't think I've played any of these games before, but you know, being that it's free on PlayStation Plus, I'll definitely check it out. The fact that it's free also makes me wonder, does that mean it's not good? Because
Dude,
people are going to buy it.
Bug Snacks.
Yeah.
Your children's favorite game of all time was free on PlayStation Plus.
It's true. I mean, they're stepping up a little bit in terms of, like, you know, we keep saying that they're not really putting out a competitor to Game Pass, but it does seem like they're trying to put new, bigger releases free on PlayStation Plus every month. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I really should try Destruction All-Stars. I finally downloaded it.
I know for me, when I started skipping, when they were like, and the newest addition is that we get to possess other things. And I'm like, okay, as a guy who worked on a game 15 years ago,
I don't think that's how. I got to be honest. I don't think that's how it was phrased in the trailer.
Oh, that's how it was phrased.
They said that's all. That was in the first game. They said it's been always the biggest ability of Abe in these series. Like, that's a staple of the series.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think.
Anyways, I skipped immediately after hearing that.
Yeah, it's like at the very end. You barely skipped it.
This guy's going to be eating his words in April.
Oh no, I've tried some of these Oddworld games. They're not for me. Definitely not.
Okay.
Next is Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, which we were all creaming for the first time we saw this. So I think I looked it up on the store. I think it's August
24th.
24th? Yeah, okay. So it is coming this year, which I'm excited for. And I don't know if I was more excited based on this. It seemed like kind of confirming what I thought the game was. But it is kind of another AA type of game. I don't know if Biomutant is AA or AAA, but there's a few like new IPs coming this year that I'm really excited for, and this is one of them.
Yeah, the art style was even more impressive this time. I was almost getting like Ghost of Tsushima vibes from it, just from, I don't know, just like the polish level of the animation and stuff. But I wish now we could see sort of like a longer form gameplay trailer, that wasn't so cut up, because it seemed like there was quite a bit of gameplay in here, but it was quite chopped. And, you know, you see like a bit of a move here and a bit of move there, and then there'd be a new boss and whatnot. So it would be nice to see an elongated gameplay trailer that kind of explains exactly what you do, what the game loop is.
Still getting heavy Beyond Good and Evil vibes, or the original Beyond Good and Evil, which I am certainly into.
Yeah, I mean, those cute creatures are just, they're real cute.
The Rots, I think,
say that.
last time I checked.
Yeah.
Get a plushie, man. They're on their website.
Yeah.
Ember Labs. I've talked about
to.
this so many times, Sean. Come on. I'm hurt.
I'm not keeping in touch with this stuff, but I guess I have to.
You're keeping in touch with me when I talk about it on the show. I've said it like 4 times.
Too many podcasts. Can't keep track anymore. My brain is exploding.
All right, let's get to the game you want to talk about, Sean. Deathloop. Got to say, this game I was less intrigued by seeing this trailer, mainly for one reason: stealth. Not into stealth, and it seemed like there is a possibly heavy stealth element, although it's by the people who did Dishonored, which emphasized choice in how you approach situations, stealth or action-based. So I'm guessing that's the case here. Sean, Needle, going up or going down?
Well, I like the trailers. Like, I really think the marketing for this game has been amazing. I still don't really understand how the game works, or kind of what is unique about it. Like, you know, they keep talking about this.
Clearly, they're doing like a Bond song, though, right? Like,
oh god,
yeah.
it's so obvious,
Definitely.
so painfully obvious.
point.
But that's what I mean. Like, it was just another like stylized trailer where I didn't totally understand what I'm doing in the game. But I mean, I guess they've sold me at this point. I don't know.
Well, that
They have a new release date. I don't remember from what I saw.
I think it's
recall.
May.
Still May.
May 21st. Yeah.
I'm in the opposite boat where, like, I know so little about this game, other than that it looks like some reskinned version of Dishonored, that I have no interest. I don't know what it is. Like you were saying, Sean, like, yeah, I know you die and then you replay it, but is that it? You just kind of like replay the same mission over and over again? Like, it's not even clear. I mean, is it like Hitman, where you have like a target and then you're trying to figure out how to best do it? But it's very actiony from the trailer, so it's kind of hard to tell what is the loop.
Yeah, and like, you know, we've been talking about all the roguelike stuff that's been coming out. Like, I don't know, does a time loop game count as roguelike? Like, I mean, it kind of seems like a similar setup. So I don't know. I'm
Well, you
curious.
compared it to Hitman at some point too, right? I think.
Huck just did. Yeah,
Oh, well, like on a previous episode, you were talking about that as well. I think.
I was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I don't
Even you
remember
don't.
that.
I listen to you, and you don't even listen to yourself.
I can't keep track, Frank. My brain is mush. But yeah, I mean, like, to me, it like, I will readily admit it's largely the marketing and the style that has got me, and maybe that's a bad thing, but we'll see.
Cool. And last, and probably not least, it seems to be the one people are talking about the most, although most of it is that a PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming this summer, June 10th, I believe. And,
Yep.
I mean, I'm just hoping for that Auto Pop Platinum. It's weird. I want the Auto Pop Platinum, but I also want to play this game again. So, in my head, I'm like, just give me the Auto Pop, and then I'll play it again on Xbox and get another 1,000. So I'll still play it again, but I'll maximize achievement score and trophy score at the same time. So I'm in. There's a new episode called Intergrade, featuring Yuffie as a new playable character, which I thought looked like fun. I like Yuffie.
Yeah,
I
and
wasn't
a new
crazy about the
character.
initial costume that the trailer started with, but we got to classic Yuffie pretty soon.
Yeah, and one new character called Sunin or something like that.
Oh, I kind of missed that.
Yeah, he had like a staff or something like that.
Yeah, I guess I thought it was more of a non-playable character, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it looked. So I don't know if they showed any gameplay where you're where you seem to be controlling that guy, but he was in the battles with Yuffie, which makes you think that they would have that switching mechanic still in there, like they do in the regular game.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to do a hot take here, and I'll probably get ridiculed. They were doing a lot of PS4, PS5 comparison videos. I thought the PS4 version looked better. Like,
I was going to say the same thing.
Like
there was a few
very washed out. Like they had like this post-process effect with lighting, which I don't like. What I like about a lot of not mostly, but a lot of Japanese games have like a very crisp, colorful art style where they're not focused on post-processing, and like Neo's like that. Sekiro had a bit of the post-processing stuff, but like they're very colorful and sharp. And this felt like it was softening everything, not necessarily making it look better. I mean, I'm sure the lighting's a bit better, but hot take, I'm about the PS4 version right now.
I mean, to me, there were a few where you could see more detail. I was wondering if it was because I was watching on my TV. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I was like, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't. The other one, the PS4 version, was popping more.
Yeah, it pops, baby. That's that sharpness, that crispness of the graphics.
Yeah, I agree. I got to admit, too, I was confused at first. I thought they were announcing the next part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then I was like, wait, what? So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys understood right from the start. Like, because I don't know the characters, I don't know the parts of the game and stuff, but...
I had seen new stuff before, so I was previously informed. I cannot comment on that.
Okay. But I guess...
You excited or what?
I am a little bit. Only because more stuff to play in this game. Though I didn't realize that intergrade was like a real word. But apparently it means pass into another form by a series of intervening forms. So I guarantee that this is some sort of like actually the name is important, and it actually will have some gameplay implications that maybe convert sort of like the Final Fantasy VII Remake gameplay into whatever the gameplay is going to be for the new version.
You think it's going to get into maybe the version of open world in the next one? Like start to...
I would say no. I think that would be quite the undertaking for like a DLC. But I wonder if they're going to introduce whatever they're going to do with the materia system. Because they gave you a shit ton of materia in the first part, and how are they going to expand on that going forward? I don't know. So maybe...
Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say maybe this is going to, move forward with that aspect of the game and start introducing some of the mechanics that are going to be different in the full Remake 2 or whatever they call it.
I'm looking at the Intergrade on the store, and it seems like it's a full version. I just want to buy this new episode. Like they said, if you have the original, you get this for free. Like, do you actually get the Intergrade episode for free, or is that an extra DLC? Because it's not available on the store. It's just the whole package.
If you already own the Remake on PlayStation 4, you get Intergrade for free.
Oh yeah.
Oh really? I didn't think that was going to be the case. That's cool. I read the part about the PS5 version being for free, but I didn't read about that. That's neat.
Well, I guess I don't know.
Grade A for this one, Square Enix.
But the wording's a little unclear on that.
Oh, here we go.
Does that mean? Well, does that mean you own the Remake on the PlayStation 4 and you get Intergrade on PS4 for free, or does that mean you only get on Intergrade on the PS5 for free?
I think it's, from what I'm seeing on the store, it's all just one big version. It's called, the PS5 standard release is called, it's just the name of the PS5 version. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade.
Right. I'm just wondering, like, does that mean you can play that new chapter on the PS4, though?
I believe that chapter is only available on PS5, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I was unclear on.
Okay. That makes sense.
So, couple quick things, too. I don't know if you guys heard this. This wasn't part of the Sony thing, but they also announced 2 other Final Fantasy games today. that are
No.
part of the Final Fantasy VII universe.
Ooh.
They are both mobile games.
Guy.
One is called Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier, a battle royale game set in Midgar before the events of Final Fantasy VII. And then they announced Final Fantasy Ever Crisis, which is a chapter-based... What's that?
Jesse's in it, the first screenshot. So.
A chapter-based retelling of the entire Final Fantasy VII story. So it's a single-player game that covers the events of Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children movie, the PSP spin-off Before Crisis, Crisis Core, and Dirge of Cerberus.
It actually looks
Whoa.
pretty good. Like, it looks like it's an updated style of the original game.
Yeah, so these are all words that mean nothing to me, but maybe somebody cares.
Well, people care
They
about
mean
that,
something
believe
to me. Well, this game is not what I was expecting it to be. This looks basically like a mobile version of the game of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I just don't understand, like, how is, like, the movie part of this? Like, does that mean it's just they're going to show cutscenes that are summarize the movie, or are they actually adding gameplay?
Relax, man. We'll get there. We'll find out. Don't stress over it. I know you're worried, but
I'm not worried. I'm just curious. I mean, it's a weird thing to announce, but
Well, I wonder if they... So I know there has been speculation as to them sort of messing with the timeline of Final Fantasy VII, and I wonder if this is their sort of way to refresh everyone's memory of like all the info in sort of like the total lore, and then they'll be able to kind of flip it on its head and play with certain things. Yeah, this could be interesting. And is this coming out soon?
I don't see it.
I have a feeling
here.
it's going to be a while based on what I saw.
Oh, so the Battle Royale one is 2021. The other one is 2022.
Oh, okay, so quite a while.
Yep.
You know what that means? Final Fantasy Remake 2, 2023 or later.
Probably.
Yep.
PlayStation 6. Exclusive.
So that's it for the state of play. Overall, okay. Nothing mind-blowing or anything like that. Games I'm excited for, but I'm biased, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious all the people who kind of hated the Nintendo Direct, how they would compare this. Because to me, it's like, yeah, the games overall, I'm probably more excited, but like 90% of them I knew about. So, you know, the Nintendo one had a little more excitement for me personally.
Yeah, I agree. I'm more excited for the games in this, but I knew about them already. What have you done for me lately? Like,
Yep.
never enough. Never enough. Okay, let's get into what we played. Anyone want to go first?
I go first. I finally got 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim out of the library. And this game was... I didn't really know anything about this game other than that it was a Vanillaware game. It had that similar art style to their other games, which are like Miramasa and... did they do Dragon's Crown? I can't remember if they did Dragon's Crown or not. But
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, okay. So the game is sort of split up into sections that have the similar art style to those fighting games, but instead of fighting in those areas, it's basically like a conversation, little like side-scrolling dialogue area. You kind of walk between like different classrooms in a school or something like that. And those are neat, I guess. Like the art style is really nice. And then the other half of the game is this RTS strategy game where you're in some sort of like mech warrior. And it's definitely a story game. It has this really, I wouldn't say convoluted, but it's definitely difficult to follow not time loop, but time jumping story where people are jumping through time and appearing at different sections in time, and you have to kind of track all these people, and there's like 13 of these people you're trying to track. So I'm still working my way through the prologue apparently, and I think the prologue is like 7 chapters. I'm on number 5. So it's definitely a long game from what I've read. But overall, like I was saying, I think you would really enjoy this game. It is a little heavy on probably the talking, which maybe you're not so into, but definitely the story is interesting. But it also has that sort of like Japanese anime flaunting of women's bodies all over the place, which is very common in these sorts of games. Lots of oh, I'm gonna pull up my shirt. Oh no, I'm not. And I've got super short skirts on and short shorts and all this stuff. So it's definitely not the most tasteful of games, but it definitely has a nice art style to go with the lack of taste, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Not every woman's breasts are extremely huge, which is a nice change from most of these games. But I'm really enjoying it, and I'm going to keep playing it. And it's definitely something people should check out. I feel like it's really flying under the radar, and I don't know how much it is. I don't know if it's worth like a AAA type price, but I would say definitely like a medium double A.
I mean, I've looked at it, and I know we talked about this before, because did it win like the narrative award or something, or at least get nominated for that at the Game Awards? So I've looked at it. It's a AAA $80 game.
It is
and I was like, there's no way I'm paying that.
It was on sale for $40 though recently, wasn't it?
But yeah, it had been on sale like once or twice, and I was like tempted, but I mean, I think the game seems like it's a long game, and I don't know that I would come close to.
Maybe watch some YouTube videos at 2 times speed to get a taste.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's do how long to beat.
It has
25 hours.
It has gotten a lot of solid reviews though. So
yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
Cool. Well, I can mention a couple of things, but I'll start with, I've actually been still pouring a lot of time into Immortals Fenyx Rising, and I'm pretty much like right at the end now. And I've probably I want to say 45 hours in. So wow. I'm kind of like, even though it was starting to feel a bit grindy to me, I still felt compelled to keep playing this thing. And it's a Breath of the Wild clone in a lot of ways, but I just think that has almost become this new open world format that's just like set a new standard. People are copying it, but I don't care. Like it's just great. And for me, the combat is not the best part of the game, but I still really enjoy all the puzzles, and like the environmental just exploration and all that stuff is a lot of fun. And I mean, it's pretty solid. I will say towards the end, there's one of the final areas, you're kind of climbing up this mountain, and there was some frustrating stuff where if you fell, you would not necessarily die, but you'd end up stuck like really far away from where you had climbed up to. And you couldn't even, it would immediately save a new checkpoint as soon as you hit the ground where you fell to. So I was getting real annoyed by that. I had to thankfully they do have a manual save, so I could manually save at a point and know that I could always get back to that. But that was definitely driving me nuts for a while.
Getting flashbacks to the Shadow of the Colossus final boss, which is the worst.
Yeah, so... but yeah, I mean, I still would recommend the game if you're at all interested. And throw it over to you, Frank.
All right, first I'll mention I played a bit of the new Call of Duty Season 2, which the new Battle Pass launched at midnight last night. And there's a new event, an Outbreak event, which kind of combines zombies and... why can't I think of what... their Battle Royale game is called? The big open world map.
Warzone?
Warzone, yeah. It's kind of combining zombies and Warzone, which was fun, but it crashed while I was doing it. I lost all my progress. I was not pleased. So
That's surprising.
that was kind of annoying. Just lost the connection and then got booted. And okay, well, the whole point of that is to play for a long time. So if you're going to get kicked out of it, it really defeats the purpose of some of that stuff. So hopefully it was just a fluke. I mean, it just came out at midnight, so I'm sure there's still bugs with it. But I was enjoying that. It's my favorite Call of Duty game ever in terms of multiplayer. It's not even close. Menus are amazing. The multiplayer maps, the best. Simple, very like easy to learn. Not a lot of lighting hacks. Like camping's still pretty brutal, but that's every Call of Duty game. Anyway, absolutely love this game. The game I'm playing the most by far. And I also tried out very briefly, but another hot take coming in here. I tried Spelunky 2. I've never played the original Spelunky, and I was loving roguelites, or I guess this is a roguelike, and said, why am I not trying this game? I bought it a couple weeks ago. Said it seemed like a perfect game to pick up for half an hour or so, maybe an hour. And I was not loving this game. I can't believe this game is getting like 10s and the Metacritic and Game of the Year nominations. I still don't think I get it. I definitely didn't like Binding of Isaac the first time I played it. It took me a while to fully appreciate it. And then I kind of got hooked. I'm hoping that's the case with this game. But I just found the game loop really frustrating, insanely hard. I found the controls clunky, like the whip combat was super annoying and unresponsive, and half of the enemies you can only stun, and you have to throw rocks to kill them, which is really annoying because picking up, you have to like press down and square. I found the controls really unintuitive. So I don't know. It's okay. Certainly don't understand the universal praise for this game as being like one of the best games ever. And like, I know it's highly systems based, but I got killed in the shop 3 times. And I'm like, when that starts happening, I'm like, I'm out. Like,
Well, go ahead, Huck.
Oh, I was just going to say, I've listened to some podcasts of guys that were like really into Spelunky 1, and they are not into Spelunky 2 either. So I don't know where the reviews are coming from that you've read. But I don't really read reviews that much anymore, but of the podcasts I listen to, no one's really into this game. It really kind of hit the mark from what I can tell from that sort of angle.
yeah, I had just seen the IGN review it was a 10 out of 10, which seems absolutely crazy to me.
It had a high Metacritic for sure when I checked, but I played about an hour of it, and I had played a bit of the first one and liked it. And I will say I also was super frustrated. I don't know if like I just suck, which is definitely a possibility, but like I tried for like about an hour, and I don't think I ever got like the first run successfully. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I reached the exit.
You definitely suck at games, but I'm really good, and even I suck. And I could barely get out of the first door, and I finally realized, there's lots of mechanics in there that are intended to motivate, I think, the player to get to the exit as fast as possible. It's like this risk-reward scenario where I was being very cautious going through and trying to kill every enemy, get every money thing, and like there's this ghost that chases you and insta-kills you, and to me I'm like, okay, I'm just supposed to get through level 1-1, like whatever it is, as quickly as possible. Like the picking up the dog and all this stuff, and like picking up stuff, hot take, picking up stuff in games sucks. Like it's annoying. Why is this still in games? Like whenever you auto pick stuff up, or like it's kind of seamless, it's so much more fun. Picking up things is the worst. It's the worst in Zelda too. Like I hate picking stuff up in Zelda and throwing it. It's very cumbersome. Hot take, picking up stuff is the worst. Get it out of your games. But I kind of was getting better towards the end of my hour playtime, but I was dying constantly, and not in fun ways. Like I'm like, what? I just kind of randomly died? Fuck off. I'm done with you for now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so I speaking of Zelda, I did jump into an older Zelda game, maybe a little bit of the Nintendo Direct hype rubbing off on me, but I remembered that I had two sort of older 2D Zelda games, which I had never played and had been meaning to. Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, which these were the two Game Boy Color games that were developed by Capcom. And they did release them on Virtual Console for 3DS like years back. And they're pretty cheap, so worth checking out. But I've been playing Oracle of Seasons, and I'm enjoying it. Obviously, Game Boy Color did not have very many buttons, so there's a bit of frustration with basically you have an A and a B button, so you're constantly swapping stuff out. But whatever. And I guess one of the unique mechanics is that you can change the seasons, which when you're in certain areas, you change it to winter and it freezes things over, and that changes what you can get to and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying that. Apparently the two games kind of interact in some way. Like if you beat one, something carries over or something. I don't really know what the deal is there, but I don't know. I'm going to try to play through both of them.
Okay. Did you ever play Four Swords, Sean? It seems like something that would be really up your alley. And I've never played it in a I don't think I've ever played it. I don't think, and not in a co-op way.
So I was looking into it because I have the GameCube one, and I have the Four Sword Adventures bonus that came with the Link to the Past remake or whatever it was. And they're two different things. I've dabbled in both of them, but I've never been able to play a multiplayer version of it because I just never knew anyone else who had the game at the time. And so I was actually trying to look into can you play with I guess the Dolphin emulator, the Four Sword Adventures game online. And I don't know if it's possible. I could not figure it out. It seemed super complicated because it's made for. That's the other problem. That game, in order to play, you have to bring a Game Boy Advance. So everybody who's playing has to use a Game Boy Advance as their controller, which is kind of cool, but so annoying.
Are you sure about that?
Yep. Because you go in, everybody has their own screen when they go into a room or a cave or something. And there's it seems crazy that they don't have a way around that, but yeah, it's not very convenient.
Sounds like the most exclusive, amazing experience ever. We got to make this happen.
If we can figure out a way to play it, I am definitely down for it. But yeah, I don't know. Somebody out there knows. Or if you want to sell me an old Game Boy Advance and a link cable or something.
I got both under my stairs, bud.
But I guess, until lockdown is over, I don't think that's happening. But maybe at some point.
All right, Huck, anything else for you?
No.
Okay. So thanks for listening. Check us out, youtube.com/GameJunk. My Angry Commute, Equilibrium Sys on Twitter for Huck, and Film Junk on Twitter for Sean. Anything else we need to mention?
Nope.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.